Hey everyone, and welcome back to your fourth stimulus check and news update. In today's video, we have a lot of news to get into, but first, if you would like to receive 2 free stocks from Webull valued up to $2,300, make sure to claim them by clicking my link, which you'll find in the description box below. Okay, so 20 years ago, a tragic event occurred, which I think we all strongly remember. Most of us remember exactly where we were on that day. For many families, September 11th remains a reminder that life is impermanent and very much uncertain. We must take advantage of every single moment and not take our families and loved ones for granted. Even though September 11th was an awful day in many aspects with thousands of deaths, it also brought our country much closer together. And to this day, I still am so grateful for all the heroes that put their lives on the line each and every day for our communities. I also wanted to give a quick but huge thank you to all of you veterans out there who have served or who are currently serving our great nation. May we never forget that freedom isn't free. Thank you for all of your service. Okay, so jumping right into the update for today, for all of you California residents out there, if you didn't receive your $600 stimulus check when they first started going out on August 27th, you can look to receive yours at some point next week. Again, this will be for $600 for taxpayers in California, at least for those who are eligible, and $500 more for qualifying families with children. In order to qualify, which you still have time to do, you must file a 2020 tax return by October 15th of this year, have an adjusted gross income of no more than $75,000 for 2020, and not be claimed as the dependent. Furthermore, you must have been a resident in the state of California for more than half of 2020 and still be a resident in the state at the time the payments are issued. If you don't receive your payment next week, again, not to worry, as payments will continue to be sent out in 2-week intervals through the rest of this year. With these stimulus checks going out in California, they seem to really be helping the current governor, Gavin Newsom, rise in recent polling data. While $600 checks and other policies are the main reasons Newsom hopes he won't be replaced as the sitting governor in California, others, I guess you could call them supporters, hope to take out his main opponent, Larry Elder, by the force of eggs.
There is a woman in a gorilla mask throwing an egg at him. She punched a guy who told her to stop. She yelled, "Take your hands off me," expletive. "Touch me again, touch me again." She then aimed a left hook at the man. Security guard then menaced another guy wearing all black before a second woman was slapped. By the way, the woman right there who slugged that guy with the left hook, she's on a smart bike. So while he was at a homeless encampment, obviously, she was not from the homeless encampment because she's on a smart bike and she made a getaway.
Yeah,
What's with the gorilla mask?
Okay, so first off, that's one super ugly mask. And two, man, she really needs to work on her aim. I'm sure all you Dodgers and Giants fans out there are super relieved that she won't be on your 25-man roster. Maybe next season. In some other news, just as a refresh reminder, the next batch of child tax credit payments should be hitting bank accounts next week, specifically on Wednesday. If you wish to opt out of the September payments at this point, it will be too late to do so. However, you will have until October 4th if you would like to start receiving payments after the next one. Last month, for the August batch of payments, around 15% of families that received direct deposits for the July payments ended up receiving a paper check in the mail instead. This was due to a technical issue on the IRS's part, which should be cleared up at this point, but will definitely be on the lookout for any other possible delays. For those of you with newborns in 2021, soon the IRS should have a new update in their portal where you will be able to update your new dependent. The hope is at this point they'll have an update before the October enrollment period ends, but we'll just have to wait and see. And if, for whatever reason, the IRS is unable to update their portal by the end of this year, which honestly wouldn't surprise me all that much, on your tax returns next year, you will be able to claim a $3,600 credit. On top of that, you'll also be able to claim the other half of the credits you didn't receive if you have any other children. So again, if you have a newborn, as long as they're born on or before December 31st of this year, you will be eligible for the $3,600. If your baby is born on January 1st of next year or beyond, unless the child tax credit payments are extended, you will not be receiving a $300 monthly payment or the full 2021 credit totaling $3,600. Of course, as of right now, progressive Democrats hope to include an extension of the child tax credit payments, which are currently being thrown into the reconciliation bill. At the moment, there are really only two Democrats standing in their way by the names of Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin of West Virginia.
I'm Joe Manchin. I approve this act because I'll always defend West Virginia.
As your senator, I'll protect our Second Amendment rights. That's why the NRA endorsed me. I'll take on Washington and this administration to get the federal government off of our backs and out of our pockets. I'll cut federal spending, and I'll repeal the bad parts of Obamacare. I sued EPA, and I'll take dead aim at the cap and trade bill, because it's bad for West Virginia.
Virginia also happens to be a state that heavily disapproves of the job President Biden is currently. As you can see, Biden currently has a 75% disapproval rate in the state of West Virginia. So does Senator Manchin sign on to the $3.5 trillion more in spending and side with Biden in the process? Or does he keep to his word and only wanting to spend at max $1.5 trillion and keeping his constituents happy? If Bernie Sanders, AOC, and the rest of the progressive wing get their way, their hope is that he caves to the pressure. And apparently, the relationship between Sanders and Manchin hasn't been all that great, according to a former aide of Senator Manchin. In his words, there never was a relationship and they do not talk. In a recent statement by Manchin regarding Bernie Sanders, the senator said, "Bernie truly is very, very much a socialist. He really is and makes no bones about it. I know where he's coming from. I know who he is, and I respect that." When Bernie Sanders was asked about Manchin's recent demands of the reconciliation bill being lowered to $1.5 trillion, Sanders said that the $3.5 trillion bill already is a major compromise. In Sanders' mind, if they could have it their way, they would be spending even more in this reconciliation bill. Other than Manchin and Sinema, we recently had another Democrat, Stephanie Murphy, come out saying that she won't vote for the reconciliation bill until she's able to see the full text.
We've been charged with writing important pieces of the bill that will become the Build Back Better Act. And I care deeply, both personally and professionally, about a number of the legislative proposals that we'll be discussing, like paid family and medical leave, access to childcare, retirement security, and health profession opportunity grants. More broadly, I recognize that in order to help working families, Democrats must advance these and other proposals through the reconciliation process because of Republican obstruction. You know, it's critical we legislate in a thorough and transparent way, even though, and I think especially because, Democrats are proceeding on our own. Process matters because I want my constituents to have faith in what I'm doing, and because a good process makes it more likely we'll produce a good bill that can actually become law. And yet to date, I've only received the text of Subtitle A through Subtitle E. And as far as I'm aware, our committee hasn't received official CBO scores of these subtitles, with the exception of Subtitle B, which involves retirement policy. And even more concerning, we've not yet received the remaining subtitles or the scores associated with them. And in fact, I don't even know how many more subtitles there will be. For example, we haven't seen the subtitle on prescription policy or the subtitle that will strengthen tax incentives to promote clean energy and combat climate change, nor have we seen the revenue subtitle that will pay for all of this. So as we begin the multi-day markup of this historic legislation, I don't know how much we're spending, how much we're raising, how we're spending some of the money, and how we're raising any of. And I want to emphasize, I don't blame the chairman or this committee for the current situation. We were given an artificial deadline by which to craft and mark up a big bill. And I believe this deadline was too rushed, driven by politics rather than policy. We need more time to get this process right. A little more time to ensure we have all the subtitles, not just some of them. A little more time to make sure we have official scores for all the subtitles, not just unofficial scores for some of them. So despite this committee's extraordinary efforts, I find myself in an impossible situation. I can't properly evaluate the investments in subtitle A through E, however worthwhile they appear in isolation, with the incomplete information I have. I cannot assess them if I don't know how we're paying for them. I cannot pass judgment on them if I don't know what trade-offs we're making. That is, what other items were excluded in order to include them. I don't think we can afford to do everything. And as a legislator, I have to prioritize and make tough choices. I don't think it's asking too much to want to see this bill in its entirety before voting on any part of it. I think that's asking for the absolute minimum, especially when we're proposing to create or change programs that will affect my constituents at every stage of their lives. And for this reason, and unless something changes, I have no choice but to vote no on each subtitle and on final passage.
So I think we can all agree here that it is only fair to be able to read the entire bill before holding a vote. And really, all these huge, ballooned up bills with multiple confusing pieces of legislation should go away as well. In my opinion, we should only have one piece of legislation for each bill, rather than these gigantic 3,000-page bills full of different junk. Just my opinion. Okay, so before I wrap up today's video, I did want to quickly remind everyone that if you or anyone that you know are currently in need of any type of rental assistance, be sure to check out some of the links that I have in the description box below. At this point, states still have billions of dollars in rental aid, so free stocks or free money is completely up to you. So once again, I hope everyone has a great and safe rest of their day, and I'll see you in the next video.